everyone, welcome back for another reading of the Hyrule Historia. And I don't know what page to read this to, so I'm just gonna look at this stuff. I mean, this is kind of trickier to decipher how to organize this section of the book. So we're gonna see some stuff, and I'm pretty much gonna wing it until I figure out, until like maybe 20-25 minutes or so. Okay, this game goes in chronological order of the game's release dates, not timeline, release dates. So this begins with The Legend of Zelda on the NES, or the Famicom, if you're from Japan. The Legend of Zelda, Link. Link was depicted in early art examples as right-handed. However, in order to aid the creation of the pixel art, and for the purposes of configuration in game screens, he was altered to be left-handed. That's cool, I always wondered why he was left-handed. Left-handed people are cool. In case you didn't get that, I am left-handed myself. That's what I always liked about Link. Developmental materials. Development materials for The Legend of Zelda drawn by Shigeru Miyamoto. Some of the images below are making their first public appearance from this book. From the design of the enemies to the configuration of the dungeons, Miyamoto either created or had a hand in almost every aspect, which he always does, because he's a producer. Executive producer. And yep, we're gonna get to see the book again. Yep, there's all the concept art. All our good friends. We'll just link. Yep, there we go. And here's the other side. Oh, let me lift this up and there we go. Trying to see. That'll do. Yep, and there's the on this page here is the materials stuff, development materials, which is very cool. Basically, it's little sketches of the enemies, what the temples will look like, dungeons will look like, how they're gonna be set up. It also has a cool grid here that shows the size of each enemy in which is probably what they used to have to do in these kind of games, when kind of the 8-bit games. You had to make, I'm sure they still do it, make a grid. It's just more sophisticated now, which is cool to see this, because I never thought about that before. It's probably how they decipher the sizes to make things. The grid's a great way to doing that. Okay, got some more concept art. These enemies may seem familiar due to their appearances in later games of the series. Darknuts, Peahats, Levers, and Octoroks are depicted here. The second illustration from the top on the left-hand side is a shield-eating like. To its right, the illustration on the hand extending out of the wall may depict a prototype wall master. So there were wall masters. There's an idea of a wall master before. Cool. Check it out. That's some cool stuff. Shows Link on a raft here. Yeah. This is cool to see. I know it's a little harder to see, but here's their idea for the wall master. You see the hands grabbing Link. Got a key there. There's a like eating the shield. Of course, the game wasn't as graphically impressive to be able to do this. I mean, now you can easily do it. Okay, alright. The Adventure of Link, The Legend of Zelda 2. And looks like they also combine this with the Link to the Past. I wonder why they did that. Oh well, I ain't complaining. Let's see. Link. In his new design, which is targeted towards foreign fans, Link appeared a little more mature than he did in The Adventure of Link. Compared with the first game, The Legend of Zelda series, Link's arms and legs have been extended proportionally. Perhaps he was going to be carrying a shield on his back at this time. Cool. Well, I guess they had the idea of Link growing up later. I mean, they probably didn't have an idea of Link being an adult in Zelda 2, because he was an adult in Zelda 2. But he's a kid in Zelda... Oh, wait, maybe not. I don't know. I'm confused. I guess not. I guess he's the same Link. They just extended his arms. Because they always said that Link was an adult in that game. But I guess not. I don't know. Princess Zelda, clad in magnificent dress, this will become a prototype for her gown. In the picture to the left, Zelda is wearing a sci-fi themed costume. It does not make an appearance in the game. Remember what I said way back in the day? The first Zelda on the NES was originally going to have a time traveling mechanic, like a lot of Zelda games do, and they actually have a design that wasn't used for Zelda, what she would look like in the future. Ganon. You can see how huge Ganon is examining the comparisons in the chart below. For some reason, a few other familiar characters have been added to the mix. They mean they added Mario, Luigi, and Peach and a Goomba in here. It looks kind of funny with all these Zelda characters. And here we are. Remember, Mario and Link are always related. Yep, there's Zelda's future costume right here. Yep. Link with his new proportionate body. I guess they may want to make it look less cartoony. And there's Ganondorf. Well, Ganon, to be more precise. He's Ganon. See? One N. But in the original game, it was spelled with two. Okay, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, my favorite Zelda game of all time. Developmental materials. To the right are storyboards depicting scenes from the game, including the opening sequence below. Below are sketches with ideas for enemy attack patterns. Everything is drawn out in detail, from the animations to what the player must do to defeat or overcome the enemy. That's cool. Let's get back to that, because I don't want to spoil the next page. That's another game. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Link. Ever since Ocarina of Time, Link's shield inset with the Hylian crest has been treated symbolically. Link can now stand proud and tall, completely hindered by its weight. His long ears are characteristic of the Hylian, are also further emphasized. So they made the ears bigger in this game. Also, they made it clear that the adult Link can carry a shield. Well, I guess both Links are saying that can carry a shield on its back now. And they do have a couple of original ideas here that looks pretty interesting. Especially this one in the middle and the bottom. I'll show you. Here's the sketches from Link's Awakening. And yeah, this one right here is an interesting idea. It's very different than the Links we know him as today. He looks a lot more primitive in this, I would say. It's a good, for a lack of a better word. There's the idea. Here's the sketches for the child and the adult Link in color over here, right here. Very nice. And I like the idea of the two Links in this page, because Ocarina of Time is the first one that introduced the idea. Well, probably the only one that introduced the idea of two Links. And it continues on Ocarina of Time. Zelda. The design of Princess Zelda Tabard depicts the Sheikah coat of arms, in addition to the crests of Hyrule's royal family. Yeah, it's just Sheik and Sheik's design. Zelda design as a child and an adult. Impa. Yep, it doesn't say anything about Impa. So they have Saria, one of the sages, Rauru, one of the sages, Ruto, one of the sages, Naburu, one of the sages. In contrast to his final design, which depicts him wearing a sage's robe, I'm sorry, this is Rauru. The design sketch brings to mind a warrior. Perhaps he was initially part of a fighting faction. So he could have been a warrior originally. That's pretty cool. Oh, there's a lot for Ocarina of Time. Well, makes sense. First game with models, you know. Here they are. Yep, good stuff. There's Saria. Rauru's original design is right here, and it does look very warrior-like. There's Saria, which is a character I actually like very much from Ocarina of Time, as Link's only friend. She has pointy ears herself. I wonder if she's a Hylian too. Yep. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Well, what I mean by models, for those who don't know, is when you have the difference between a classic game that's 8-bit or 16-bit is, or really not about the graphical capabilities, just the style in which you're doing it, is when you have a sprite, you're making a 2D image, and you're using pixels, or you're using pretty much pixels to design the 2D image to make the sprite. Perfect example is a lot of Pokemon games to this day use sprites, until X and Y. X and Y will be using models. And speaking of models, models are made for more 3D games. When 3D games out, originally they used polygons, little shapes, until they created a whole face, or shapes and whatnot. And that's how you make a 3D image. Like, the models are literally 3D images, which makes them 3D games. It's not making one. It's not making a front sprite. They're making a back sprite. Have you ever noticed in those kind of games that you can walk around? Let's take Super Mario RPG, for example. If you're moving forward, you're going up, you see the back sprite. But if you move the other way, you notice they don't go around like this. They go completely turn around as quick as possible. That's their front. That's their front sprite. But if it was a 3D model, let's take Super Mario 64. I mean, just for game's sake, they will make Mario completely turn around, but you do have the option for him to go around this way. So and there's no skip to position, because they're not. It's not a sprite. It's a model. You can scan around it, like if anyone owns Arkham City and you can see the character models, you can rotate. Let's make an example. I know we all played Super Smash Brothers. If you go to the trophies, and you can rotate them. You can move them upside down. You can move around because it's a model. It's good stuff. It's good to understand. It's just and all that. Ganondorf. Ganondorf drawn for the first time in human form. His harp, bird-like nose is a characteristic of the Gerudo. Ganondorf. Ganondorf of the Demon Thieves, the Royal Prince of Evil. This looks like this is a little thing next to his what's the word, description next to one of his sketches. Okay, the characteristics below were provided by the game staff. Around 230 centimeters tall, strong, supple muscles, a little hunchback, tends to thrust his neck out, small face, likes topaz jewelry, has several pieces arranged all over his body, hands are a little long, a bird-like face characteristic of the Gerudo tribe, wears a leather leotard on top of a thin black bodysuit wrapped in fabric featuring Gerudo designs. A leather guard covers his shoulders and neck. Ganondorf's horse, even add that here, jet black body and red mane, has a large build around twice as big as Link's horse. Well, Link's, well, it's not the size that counts, it's how you use it. So there you go, Link. I defended opponent for you. Covered in deep crimson decorative fabric with chain mail on top of that. The neck, chest, shoulders, and face clad in metal armor, chain mail on legs too. He carries a small. Ganondorf carries a small blade like the one seen at the left on his left thigh. That's cool. Wears a leather leotard on top of his thin black bodysuit wrapped in fabric featuring Gerudo designs. A leather guard covers his shoulders and neck. He's also wearing jewelry. It's good to know, I mean, I know Ganondorf's the bad guy, but it is nice to see how he respects who he is and where he came from as a Gerudo. And it must be awkward being the only male one for the next 100 years and so. The Great Demon King Ganon. Initial draft sketch. How he differs from Ganondorf. Face twisted into a mask of rage, longer hair, wearing cloak, hands and feet become more bestial. And his face looks like a pig? Hello? I guess that's an original design before they went to the pig one. Ganon and underlings. As might be expected with a key character like Ganondorf, it seems that a number of sketches were constructed for his design, including ones for the bestial form that follows his protein transformation. Makes sense that he has a lot of different design ideas. There's one that looks really primitive. It looks like a typical thief from like the India or something like that. You know, like Aladdin or something. Check it out. Yeah, a lot of design ideas for Ganondorf. This one here interests me because it looks very different than what he looks like today. He's wearing that cloak, you know what I mean? He looks like one of those Indian thieves. You ever see Aladdin? Looks like one of those old guy thief dudes. Yeah, there we go, Ganon. This is the first time Ganondorf was ever made, and unlike Link and Zelda, who had guidelines to go by, so, which makes it easier to design. Ganondorf probably took some time, I'd imagine. A lot of different ideas. You know, concept illustrations. Because of Ocarina of Time is so story-oriented, the concept illustrations are designed with that in mind and drawn to resemble movie posters. The vertical symmetry of the illustrations below is modeled on the backs of playing cards. Oh yeah, that looks cool actually. I wouldn't mind having those in my room. Okay, we're now moving, before I show this page, and we're reading the next one, we are now moving on to The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Let's see. Only Child Link appears in Majora's Mask, but for some reason, there are illustrations for adult Link. Perhaps there were prototypes of Fierce Deity Link, who appears in the final game. Wait, what? Perhaps they were, alright, prototypes, yeah. Yeah, Majora's Mask, was a very money-making kind of game because it was much cheaper to make. Because making models was a new technology then, and it probably cost a lot of money then. So what they did was, being that it was a direct sequel after Ocarina of Time, they cleverly made Termina as a reflective world because they reused all the models and a lot of the landscaping and turned into Termina and the people. And it's very clever. If people do that today, of course people will complain about it, but like, why? Like, if the game is good, like, that's why Majora's Mask wasn't very critically acclaimed when it came out, but now it's very, very beloved game. It's the most unique Zelda game, being that the bad guy, the Majora, only shows up once in the entire series, and is this game. And it's very much it's a lot darker than Ocarina of Time was. Link only went into the forest to run away, because Zelda told him you have to go, and he was also looking for Navi, someone who became his friend, and someone he was really sad about losing. And when it comes to Fierce Deity Link, obviously he's probably the reuse model for Adult Link, and just recolored. And I remember Chugga Conroy said in his Majora's Mask update he thinks they probably would have. I think he mentioned this, saying that maybe Adult Link was an idea to put in this game, but that wouldn't have been a good idea. That would have been confusing, considering that you already have a time mechanic in this game, going back 3 days and such. But yeah, they have Goron Link in this design too. I'm sure the other sketches are in the back. And they have a height comparison with a bunch of villagers here. And let's check it out. Yeah, the Ocarina of Time poster things here are very nice. Got Sheik and Link over here, and here is Zelda and Link, right? No, yeah, Link's and Zelda are on the Master Sword. Here's the ideas for Link and such. Go on, Link on the bottom. This Link looks kind of creepy. See? And all that stuff. The thumbnails could be a little weird for this episode. I can tell. I can't control the thumbnails. Deku Link, yes, they have the sketches for Deku Link and Zora Link. Skull Kid here, they have a thing. An illustration that emphasized shadow, capturing the dark atmosphere of Majora's Mask. It was used on the interior packaging of the Japanese game. They're referring to this group shot here. And here's a page I like. Who is Tingle? Tingle's a big character in Majora's Mask, as he is in Wind Waker. There's a couple of links between Wind Waker and Majora's Mask, even though they're in two different timelines. But it shows that they were directly after. It was a couple of hints that they were directly after Ocarina of Time, and Tingle is one of those things that proved it. Let's see. His primary occupation involves flying through the sky with his balloon and surveying the terrain. When he then uses a brush to draw maps, which he pawns on travelers. Let's see. His eyes may be narrow, but they are well suited to his work. He also has the ability to decipher a variety of maps. Naked Tingle, he always wearing a unitard, but you don't usually see what his hair looks like. In fact, it looks like it has been cut by his grandmother, and his chest hair is quite thick. Ew, I did not. I could have went my whole life without seeing that or knowing that. Maps, etc. Though his primary occupation is cartography, he is also artistically included and quite talented. They have a drawing by Tingle from the boy in green. It is nice. Boots, yeah, they were just describing. Cobra mark. The main purpose of the cobra mark on his back is to intimidate enemies. I didn't know that. Tingle actually, I mentioned this last time, but Tingle a couple episodes ago, but Tingle actually has his own game, which the Runaway guys said they will be doing. I hope they do that, because I want to see that game. And it was rated T, and that shows a lot about Tingle here. He's an interesting character. I hate him. I'm just gonna say, no, I don't hate him. I dislike him greatly. I don't like that word hate. Because, like, oh, he's just annoying to me. Especially in Wind Waker. Oh my goodness. A ton of detail is put into this character. From the shape of his hair, to the items he carries, and even his eyesight. One can sense an unparalleled love for Tingle. Yeah, you can tell. That's something you always can tell. The Zelda developers at the time loved Tingle. They love him. He was essentially the Navi of Wind Waker, being that if you were playing on your GameCube, they had this device back in the day for the Game Boy Advance, link cable, where you can link your Game Boy Advance to the GameCube. And when you do that for Wind Waker, you had what's called the Tingle scanner, something like that, and Tingle was able to help you on your journeys, finding treasures and such. And I gotta say, I didn't think about this until I saw until I reminisced on Four Swords on the GameCube. The idea for the Game Boy Advance link cable to the GameCube was a lot like the gamepad. It's something I wish they really fleshed out a little more because it was brilliant. In Four Swords, I think Adventures for the GameCube, I always get confused with Four Swords, so don't hurt me if I'm wrong. But the Four Swords Adventures on the GameCube, you control Link with the Game Boy Advance and link cable, and basically on the screen it looks like a GameCube game. But once in a while, let's say you go underground or you go into a little house, they tell you look down at your Game Boy, and now it looks like a Link to the Past graphics, and you're doing the rest of the game in there. And you can play co-op 4 players. It's very cool. I thought it was so cool. And it does seem like a primitive version of the gamepad, though, looking back on it. And it's something I wish they fleshed out the GameCube a little more. It was a selling point they should have used more. And it was a good idea. And well, now we have it with the gamepad, really. I'm sure they're going to... I imagine greatly that the next Legend of Zelda game is going to use the four-sword mechanics. Who knows? It might be another game where you split into 4 links. That's my theory, anyway. But whether it's 4 links or not, I definitely think there's going to be points where Link goes underground or Link goes in a house and you have to look on the gamepad. And I think that'd be a cool idea. There's a lot of ideas you can do for the gamepad. And when it came to the Game Boy Advance link cable idea, Zelda used it really well. And that's what I love about Zelda games. They use ideas very well. I mean, you got the hit and miss ideas, and you got the debatable ideas like the motion control and Skyward Sword, but overall, they always think very hard about what the environment of the game is, what system the game is on, what the story is. They put a lot of thought and consideration into the Legend of Zelda series. Now, enough of my yapping. I know what you want to see. You want to see pictures. Look at that. This is a very nice group shot right here from Majora's Mask characters. We got Skull Kid. Keep getting the wrong side. We're wearing Majora's Mask right here. There's Deku Link and Zora Link right here. Tingle. Oh my goodness. Tingle. Oh boy. Alright, we're gonna end off here. Actually, it's a great place to end off. I'm glad the thing worked out this way. And we'll continue next time. Yeah, we made good progress. Very good, very good. I should probably doing this after the video's over, but I'm gonna see how when these character sketch things end. I mean, obviously, as later games continue, they're going to get all There are going to be more detail into these concept art pages. Okay, it ends on page 228, where they show how each character design changed throughout each game, chronologically, in chronological order. And yeah, it looks good. Then they had the game catalog, which I can't wait to get to, which shows all the Zelda games in order of their release dates, the Japanese and American covers, as well as a description on each of them. Then we have the wrapping things up letter, and then it stops on the manga, which I am not going to read for you because I want you guys to get this book and read it for yourselves. Next time, guys, we're going to continue with the concept arts and ideas for the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. And yeah, see